Oh shit.
Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu pakhair agale ni hao chunashume washmale. Ohaya gonzaimas. Guten Morgen. Hola. Bonjour. Privet. Kaifa hal? Hale shuma chatore. Ahlan wa sahlan. Marhaba. Buna mucho gracias. Swabia balli kare aaya. Hoş geldin. Anayo sayo. Khuyamura. Chivato. Chihal jod. Kalimera khairutan. And a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning. Alongside my very well-learned colleague who happens to be Miss Hajra Satti. I happen to be Shahzad Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your cold Wednesday morning with us. But first things first, hello Hajra, assalamu alaikum. What are we doing today?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much, Jazakallah khair, for introducing me. And I think last night was the coldest night experienced in Islamabad since the dawn of this winter. I'm talking about it. But Alhamdulillah, we have an interesting lineup with us, and we are going to talk about the World Mountain Day, the Mountaineers, how we need to appreciate our mountains, and then we are going to move and talk about cooking and how to do the home management, and then also we are going to touch upon a very interesting word of the year which was declared by the Oxford Dictionary. That is called a brain rot. And what is brain rot, and especially when you're engaging with a low quality online content, and how it's contributing towards or degrading your cognitive abilities. But before that, we have some very interesting news to share. So what happened is that Pakistan has again made a history, that too in the World MMA Championship. Pakistan's Mohammad Saqib etched his name in the history of the books by claiming a gold medal at a Global Association of the Mixed Martial Arts World Championship 2024 Jakarta in Indonesia. Mohammad Saqib excelled in both the senior and under 18 categories, showcasing remarkable skills and resilience against the competitors from 78 countries. In the under 18 52.2 kg category, Saqib emerged victorious in a fiercely contested final, defeating his Kazakhstan's Mansour in the 3 thrilling rounds. Wow. His journey to the gold included a dominant performance in his opening bout against the Ukrainian opponent in a semi-final win over also from the Kazakhstan.
Exactly. So congratulations to Saqib, and congratulations to all of those Pakistanis who are out there. From mixed martial art, I'm going to bring you to sports where once again Pakistan has been able to achieve an accolade, ladies and gentlemen, where Pakistan squash stars Noor Zaman, Nasir Iqbal and Asim Khan delivered stellar performances, securing a commanding 3-0 victory against Italy in their final group match of the World Team Squash Championship. The trio dominated their respective matches to ensure a comprehensive victory. A 6th-seeded Asim Khan opened the proceedings with a decisive win over Italy's Umar Zaki Masood, registering scores of 11-8, 11-4 and 11-7. Following Asim Khan triumph, Pakistan's silver medalist Noor Zaman outclassed Lorenzo Storenga with scores of 11-4, 11-7 and 11-5. British Junior Open winner Nasir Iqbal completed the sweep by overwhelming Daniel with a commanding 11-2, 11-1, 11-1 victory. Wow, that's phenomenal. That's like a thumping victory. With 3 consecutive wins, Pakistan secured the top spot in Group H. Wow, Pakistan, best of luck, and make sure that you kind of succeed for the finals and bring back some good accolades.
Absolutely. Now again, continuing this jubilant victory or the journey of Pakistanis in the sporting arena. So Pakistani powerlifter Noha Dastagir Bhatt has achieved another remarkable feat by setting a new Asian record at the Asian Powerlifting Championship in the Tashkent. During the event, he lifted an impressive 400 kg in the squat category, establishing a new benchmark. Wow. And quite an achievement. What a remarkable performance. Congratulations to Dastagir Bhatt for having this amazing performance, and may you excel a lot and make us proud as Pakistanis in other fields.
Dastagir Bhatt already has actually achieved a gold medal in Asian Games and on multiple platforms as well. He's made Pakistan proud. And I actually got a chance to see him as well. I mean,
wonderful.
He's certainly.
You're also invested in the weightlifting, right? You do it as like a daily activity,
yeah? Before getting my spine injured, I used to do it. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time that we focus on that the world celebrating World Mountain Day as well. And while we are at it, imagine that we are going to share the wonderful message by our Premier of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Mia Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif Saab, because Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif Saab reaffirms his resolve to protect the natural environment of mountains and preserve their beauty for future generations as custodians of the most awe-inspiring mountains in the world. In a message on the International Mountain Day, he said they join the global community in recognition of the significance of mountains to our home planet and to the millions of people whose lives are intrinsically intertwined with these majestic landscapes. He said this year's theme, Mountain Solution for a Sustainable Future, Innovation, Adaptation, Youth and Beyond, is a reminder of the importance of collaborative efforts, innovation, respect for indigenous wisdom, and the active involvement of youth in finding sustainable solutions for mountain conservation. He said they are building safe, secure, and climate-resilient communities in the rich mountainous terrains of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Gilgit-Baltistan through innovative climate solutions such as early warning systems, bioengineering techniques to prevent land degradation, and durable flood protection. He further said, this land is home to 8 of the 16 highest mountain peaks in the world, including the iconic K2, the world's second highest Nanga Parbat, and the 9th highest peak, along with over 7,000 glaciers, making it the largest repository of the ice outside the polar regions. The Prime Minister said that mountains, often called the water towers of the world, were the source of essential resources such as fresh water and clean air. Yet they faced mountain challenges from climate change, deforestation, and unsustainable practices. Wow,
wow, that's message. Wonderful. And I think in order to further elaborate the importance of the mountain, our team has made a visual representation. So let's go and take a look at the package, which is specially made by our worthy team members Rahila and Sajeel. Why don't we go and take a look?
Yeah, can't wait.
Mountains are a natural treasure to the world, and we celebrate International Mountain Day on December 11th every year, which brings awareness about the importance of life on mountains and its harsh environments. This year, the theme is Mountain Solutions for a Sustainable Future, Innovation, Adaptation, and Youth. The theme emphasizes the importance of empowering mountain communities through innovation. It covers technological developments as well as creative problem solving, such as climate-smart agriculture. Adaptation has become imperative for building resilience and reducing vulnerability that comes with climate change. Climate change is affecting the freshwater supplies downstream, making survival difficult for poor people on the mountains. The adaptation tactics include solutions such as ecosystem-based approach to disaster risk reduction. Youth plays an essential role for ensuring the long-term sustainability of mountain solutions. Young people are committed to climate action, gender equality, social justice, promotion of culture and inclusion. International Mountain Day 2024 promotes decent work and quality employment for youth, accessible training and entrepreneurship opportunities that contribute to the sustainable use of mountain resources. 15% population of the world comes from the mountains, and mountains are host of nearly half of the world's biodiversity hotspots. We must reduce our carbon footprint in order to preserve these natural treasures. We encourage communities and organizations to celebrate International Mountain Day so that generations in future can enjoy the experience of mountaineering.
And this was an amazing visual representation and what mountain means to us. And there's a very interesting saying that mountains can humble you in your most proudest moment. Sure. What exactly that means. And in order to further develop this conversation, we have been joined by a lady that is very passionate about summiting the frozen peaks. And she has climbed Khusargang in 2020, the K2 base camp pass in 2022, and also K2 ABC 2023. And this is such an amazing feat. And in order to unroll further this conversation, we are very glad that we have been joined in the studio by Dr. Shahida Jamil Afridi. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Sahiba, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Walaikum salam, Hajra. Thank you very much for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, Dr. Sahiba. So now we do see that the Prime Minister also talked about, how climate change is adversely impacting it. We will talk about it. But first, tell us about how does it feel to be on the mountain? Relate to us your experience of the liberation, of the empowerment that you feel. Please go walk us through that journey.
So my journey has started about 5 years ago.
Wonderful.
And slowly from Khusargang in 2020 to Gondogorola Pass 2022, Winter K2 base camp, advanced base camp in 2023, and then finally Gasharbram 2 in 2024.
8,300 meters?
8,035.
Big round of applause for you, first of all. Wonderful.
Wonderful. Please go ahead.
So, yes, it changed me a lot. Before, I was a very shy, introverted person, and I wanted to connect with Pakistan because I had come back after staying outside Pakistan for about 10 years, and it helped me reconnect with my country. It helped me reduce my stress of a new environment again, and from my job stresses, and helped me reconnect with my friends that I had left behind.
But how did this journey start? You mentioning you were a shy person, right? And summiting a mountain is a totally different feel. How did this journey happen, this turnaround happen?
And how were you introduced to mountaineering?
I was introduced through friends. I had just come back 2019, and they were already.
Where were you earlier?
Before, for the last, from 2009 till 2019, I was in Dubai. I was working there with my family. No mountains at all. And then we came back to Pakistan, and you know, even though I had grown up here, Pakistan felt like a new place, and I had changed in 10 years. So I wanted to introduce myself to the country. I wanted to reacquaint myself to the country and mountains and nature.
Did you go in the groups?
Yeah, we did it with my friends. With my friends were already into a little bit of hiking and trekking, and slowly and gradually from hiking and trekking, we went into mountains. And then once you go into mountains, they don't let you go.
But you know, Dr. Shahida, for somebody who wasn't a part of it for a longer period of time, in fact, you know, right from the beginning of your life till 2019, and all of a sudden, you know, there's someone, because once my brother-in-law said that I want to do K2 base camp, and we were all like, you know, we want you alive, certainly. You know, we do not want anything happening to you because of our sister. But you know, to be very honest, don't you think that there were reservations from your family, or if Dr. Shahida now wants to do mountaineering, you know, the equipment and everything, no basic training about it? So how did you do it all?
I didn't do it 8,000 or all of at the
3 years?
Yeah, 5 years.
Okay,
5 years from 2019 till now, and you know, slowly and gradually I started trekking with my family actually.
Wow.
With my daughter. My daughter is 18. My husband, he's ex-army, and he was really into physical activities, and we built it together. And then it's just that it got hold of me a little more than everyone else.
And that's a wonderful journey. So Dr. Sahiba, now let's talk about Pakistan has been blessed with an amazing mountain ranges, right? From the K2 towards the little mountains. And I myself belong to the mountainous area. So I call myself the daughter of the mountain. But now let's start your journey. So you went there with your friends, and it has changed you. So please walk us through your journey of how it has changed you, of your self-discovery, self-awareness. And it is said about the mountains that it can make you humble in your more proudest moment, right? Because it reminds you that you are nothing, you know, it reminds you of the nothingness of the man. Please relate to us about your spiritual awakening.
Absolutely agree that mountains really humble you. For me, it was, I was anxious, I would be stressed, and when you go into nature, it totally grounds, everything is grounded. All worries just disappear, and you just see that, you know, Allah has made the world so beautiful, and everything is so much bigger than our small problems, and we can just get rid of everything else and just relax and connect with Allah and connect with our world.
Exactly, and it's beautiful to see, you know, even the visuals that we are playing, I think they're going to be very inspiring for all of those other people who've been thinking about mountaineering so far. I think, ladies and gentlemen, you can get started any day of your life. Please make sure that you go ahead. But now let's come down to the World Mountain Day as well. And the reason being is obviously with climate change, you know, with the message of the Prime Minister of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Mia Mohammed Shahbaz Sharif Sahab, how there's degradation, how there's deforestation, how there's climate change, how there's multiple issues. Have you witnessed in all of these 5 years that, you know, that when you went for a summit in 2019 or 20, and now when you go, that you do see that a lot of glaciers have melted, that there's not as much snow as there used to be?
Exactly.
What changes have you witnessed?
So yes, glacier size is reducing, but a lot more is, this is all, of course, because of world warming up, climate change, but what we need to focus on, and what we can do about is the human waste and the plastic that when we go there and we leave behind. So laws need to be in place, government laws, and us, all tourists and all climbers. That I want to emphasize, that when we go there, we should keep nature's beauty as pristine, and we should hand it down to our generations, our younger generations, because in Prime Minister's message, we were saying Pakistan is 60% is less than 19 years of age. We have so much youth, and especially for women as well. We should have more women coming in. We should have more of them getting into physical activities, connecting with nature.
More awareness about it.
Exactly.
Dr. Shahida, so now I think it's also important that we talk about, what is one that worthy experience that you learn in your entire journey through summiting those frozen peaks. I'm pretty sure you might have a lot of stories, very interesting stories to tell, and I'm pretty sure you made a lot of memories summiting those frozen peaks. So please go ahead and relate to us your interesting experience, and what is one thing that you learn and you want to tell to other people?
I really learned that before I would get intimidated by something if it looked really big to me, and I would say like, maybe I won't be able to do it. Now I look at something and I try to break it down. I break it down and say, no, we can plan it like this and we can get over this.
Thank you so much for saying that, because this is something that I've always almost reiterated, and me and Hajra, we've always spoken about it, that for people to have bigger goals, what they really need to do is, if they have this understanding of breaking it down into smaller goals, they will eventually achieve that. But while we are at it, I think there's one more bit to it. Now imagine, just at the beginning we spoke about how there's brain rot, phenomena, then there's brain fog, there's so much social media. So when you're on the mountains, you're mountaineering, you have your goals, okay, that ye aaj peak summit karni hai.
Exactly.
And you're away from all of that social media. What difference can you gauge from that life to the life that we live in the urban centers?
When we're in the cities, half the time we are on auto. We're just doing things because we're used to doing it. There, your brain is 100% engaged. You're not depressed. You're not anxious. You're with nature. You're connected. You're present in the moment. That's the biggest difference.
And do you think that it's a blessing in disguise to be in the moment?
It's a huge blessing.
Why disguise? I mean, it's a blessing in itself, right? Because being in the moment, I think we all need to understand a lot of anxiety stems from the fact because we are worrying about what will happen next, right? And it might not happen. This is all in our mind in the first place. So, Dr. Shahida, please relate to us, some interesting memories that you made. What did you learn from the local communities there? Because the people who are living in the mountain tops, they're very good athletes. They are very good runners because they know how to adapt to the low pressure.
They're very loving. They're very helpful. They're always, even if they have very little of their with themselves, they are still willing to share that. Like when we were on a few base camps, our cook was left behind or something. The porters, they only get, for that day, they get some flour and some food. They would cook that and they were willing to share that with us. So that, it's...
I think some of the richest people are some of the poorest people, right? They have a very rich heart, and this is the true wealth that one person can have.
Exactly. And in addition to this, Hajra, this is one thing that we've never probably recognized on live television, and that is that, these porters, for people who actually summit K2, Kashabram 1, Kashabram 2, for all of these peaks, they're never to be mentioned in all of those news articles that we see all over the social media or on television. So I think, for you, thank you so much for saying that and paying them rich tribute.
Our porters and climbers, all of them.
वजन उठा के आपके साथ K2 चढ़ रहे हैं.
और बिल्कुल my equipment was, my shoes were specialized and everything, and they were in their slippers sometimes, just plain joggers. And I would look at them and I'll say, if they can do it, I should be able to do it.
They are our unsung heroes, certainly, and we need to appreciate that how much it goes into guiding them. And we've seen that Pakistan, some of the very famous porters, and they have famous, internationalized the name of Pakistan, especially in the field of the mountaineering. But thank you so much, Dr. Shahida, for coming here, for having this wonderful insights about trekking, about climbing, and sharing the beauty of Pakistan with the people out there. We're really, really grateful for your experience here and for your cross-pollination of the ideas. So in a very interesting development in Pakistan specifically. So okay, sorry. So a professor has achieved or have been recognized for his nobility because he had made something. So Shahzad, why don't you go ahead?
Sure, why not? Because imagine,
talk about.
I think we really need to give credit where it's due as well. A Pakistani academic is among a team of researchers that has been awarded the prestigious Gordon Bell Prize for its work in climate prediction using advanced computing techniques. Dr. Zubair Khalid, an associate professor at Lahore University of Management Sciences, also known as LUMS, is the first Pakistani to earn the honor. The prize, which is often referred to as the Nobel Prize of Supercomputing, recognizes outstanding achievements in high-performance computing applications, particularly those contributing to addressing Climate crisis. Wow. I think in addition to this, there's another news as well, which actually is about quantum computing. And Google says that it has cracked the quantum computing challenge with new chip. Let's see what it is.
That's a very interesting development because Google has revealed a new generation chip that can solve a problem in 5 minutes, which today's fastest supercomputer will take 10 septillion years. I don't know what is the measurement even, oh my god, which is more than the time our universe has existed. So they've explained it. The chip dubbed Willow is the latest development in a field known as quantum computing. Google hopes quantum computers will one day solve problems in medicine, battery, chemistry and artificial intelligence, and are out of reach for today's computer. But for now, Willow is the largely experimental device with a quantum computer powerful enough to solve a wide range of real world problems. And that's a very interesting development because there has been a lot of conversation on the quantum computing and what does it mean in the first place. And Shahzad, so we've all grown up in our households where whenever we used to come back from school, so
mothers are always busy.
Mothers are busy, especially in the kitchen, and the aroma of the home cooked meal would allure us towards the kitchen, and that is the memory that we have. And I think in South Asian culture, food is not just for the consumption, but it is also a love language, right?
Exactly.
Even if we are fighting or there is some sort of disagreement happen between mother and a father or between a child or a mother. So food is a silent sort of a language communication because mother will always cook a food and put it in front of your house or in front of your door to make sure that you eat the food. And this is her way of expressing the love out there.
Hajra, in addition to this, I think the other part of the picture is that don't you think that most of the time, I think we never noticed that while we were growing up, but most of the time, women might think or men might think who are actually at home and working that this is too much, I cannot do this, probably, I need to take a break, it's getting too much, I need a maid or at least somebody, who can kind of contribute into the work. So how can we actually do all of this and alleviate our lifestyle is something that we would love to talk about.
And I think we would like to delve into the culinary world out there because so something like that, if you want to reach the heart of a man or something like that, it is through your stomach, right? Yes, absolutely. Okay, so in order to further unfold the conversation on the rich culinary history of South Asia, of Pakistan in particular, we are glad that we have been joined by a food blogger. We are very glad that we have been joined by Maria Mohni. Assalamu alaikum, Maria, and thank you so much for joining us.
Walaikum assalam. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me here.
It's an absolute pleasure, Maria. So do you agree with this notion or assertion that in South Asia, food is a silent love language?
I think food is not culture bound. Food is a love language everywhere, across cultures. But Pakistanis are, yes, we are foodies and we are diehard foodies and we love food and we celebrate food.
And Maria, before we actually move on to talk about, where, how can we alleviate our lifestyles while we're doing all of those house chores, let me just ask you, don't you think that if we are to kind of put it in a cultural perspective, most of the time when arguments are being resolved, when the rishtas are being taken, for a bride or for a groom, I think most of the time whenever we want to show respect to anyone, I think it comes down to your dinner table or your lunch table or your breakfast or your brunch tables as well. There's no other thing that we can think about.
I think, yes. And by cooking a home cooked meal, we actually give respect to our guests, to our loved ones. We show love. And I think the role of a traditional homemaker has changed. Now, a modern homemaker does not just manage the kitchen. She has a lot on her palette, She might be working professionally. She has social circles. She manages her own mental and physical health. So through easy recipes, that is what my blog is all about. Through easy recipes, I try to take the stress out of cooking and make cooking easy for young cooking enthusiasts. and for modern cooking homemakers.
We can do
Right,
that.
Maria. So we've seen in Pakistan, especially because you talked about the home cooked meals, and whenever any guest is here, so it's deemed as a very honorable thing to present a home cooked meal, right? Because you have put an effort, you have invested your time and energy, and made sure that the guest feels special. But now we see that the trend is little bit shifting or changing, and we do see the incorporation of the frozen made or ready-made meals होते हैं. So how do you see this entire development? Do you think that it is also alleviating the pressure of the homemakers, because obviously they have to juggle between so many tasks, and especially now when both the partners are working? How do you see this development? And then we will also delve into the culinary world, especially the crockery. Please go ahead.
I think that with time things have changed. People adjust, and with fast track lifestyle, everything has changed. Everything has improvised. So having a home cooked meal is always more nutritious. You know, it can be personalized. It is more cost effective, but having an elaborate cooking setup, menu selection is always a personalized choice. Many people just cook one thing, and but they present with such warmth and such love that the guests, they appreciate that.
Exactly, and Maria, in addition to this, this obviously, because the kind of subject that we're discussing today, I do not want to be gender biased over here, so may it be men or women at home, because these days, alhamdulillah, that the families that we come from, I'm not talking, it might sound very generic, but there's a particular segment of the society where, there's always house help, there's staff members to help you and whatnot. But unfortunately, and आपको पता है वो टिकते तो हैं नहीं घरों में, तो unfortunately, whenever one of those, kind of takeoffs, so what happens is that for all of those women of the house or the men of the house who were supposed to do all of those chores, kind of give up on all of these chores in 10 days or 11 days time or 12 days time. हमसे नहीं हो रहा भाई, कोई अगला बंदा रखो. What's your take on this, for people who are at home, who are not doing anything else? But the only job they have to do is to probably cook food for their children, for their husband or for their wife, and they give up on all of it. कि जी अब सारी उम्र तो हमने काम किया, अब हम और नहीं कर सकते. So what's your message for them?
I think cooking is not gender specific. Okay, that being said, in our culture, it's expected that the woman should cook, and the woman would help. Having a house help is something of a privilege which us Pakistanis we enjoy, but prepping ahead always helps, okay, and takes out the stress from cooking. I think it's not gender specific. Everybody should contribute. You should teach your children to contribute and to help around the kitchen, help around the house management. If somebody arrives, unexpected guest arrival is very common in our society. If somebody comes, you should have a support system, and you should teach your kids to contribute as well.
Right, and Maria, so we are seeing on your visuals, your very amazing table setup there, because I myself am a tablescaping person, so I put in a lot of effort in order to make sure the crockery is matching with the table runner and all of this, so the aesthetics that you put in. So tell us about, what is trending nowadays, and especially I see that there's a lot of metal crockery, right? And this was the crockery that was very famous we see in our Nani Dadi's household, right? And that fashion is again returning, right? Silverware. So please tell us about what are the latest trends in the crockery, and what are some of the tips or tricks or hacks that you would like to tell to the people who are interested in the tablescaping?
Well, if you are hosting for a larger group, I always suggest that you set up the table prior a day or a few hours before the meeting or gathering. And trends are changing. Everything is there. You just need to experiment and have a pleasant and aesthetically laid out table, and presentation counts a lot in if you have guests arriving, even if you have your house coming to your dinner, you need to have presentation. Any food, even dal chawal, presented the right way, it is so charming and it gives so much warmth to the table.
Absolutely.
Exactly, and in addition to this, I'm very sorry.
Right.
So Maria, obviously, because you are on our show now, and alhamdulillah, we are playing visuals of how or what sort of meals that you've been cooking. I could see sandwiches, I could see pakoras and samosas and lasagna early in the morning. Do you think that we are ever going to get a chance to actually have food which is actually cooked by you as well, because it looks really delicious?
Yes, why don't I should invite you to my table then. Actually,
We would love to
whenever
come.
I suggest a menu, it is a variety of things, not just one thing, because it makes the menu selection easy, it makes the preparation easy. So, whenever I decide my party menus or suggest to my followers, I say that, make two things dairy, two things with cheese, two things should be cold. You should not be dependent entirely on baking or on gas. So you need to have a choice of food, even for your guest. You should consider their eating preferences before designing a menu.
But
Yeah.
Maria, I think I would like to suggest you to make sure when you invite Shahzad, you get an invite back from him. That's a very difficult task. I'm telling you from the experiment. But that's a general
Yeah,
renting.
but there's one more thing which I would want to ask. Now, imagine Mario, okay, with guests, okay, we get it, so there's an elaborate menu which has been selected and people kind of cook and put effort and whatnot. But imagine in every household and on everyday basis, what happens is that there's always this debate, कि आज क्या पकाएं? How do you
Yeah.
solve this solution on a daily basis? Because for me, if my mom's going to ask me, either it's going to be chicken, mutton, keema.
Yes, if you ask someone, "Aaj kya pakaएं?" they say kuch bhi. And when you make kuch bhi, it is like, what have you made? Nobody eats that.
True,
So
true.
yes, deciding on the menu, deciding on what to cook on a day, it's a task. It's a task for a homemaker. It's a task for a working mother, and it's a task for me too. So yes, but what I do is I make small portions of.
Right, and Maria, so whenever you are planning for you were telling us about, a big dawat, right, where a lot of family members are pouring in, right, and obviously it's you have to put in a lot of effort, lot of energy, and you have to spare a lot of time for hosting such an event. So take us through, what goes into your mind whenever you are setting the table in terms of the dishes that you're preparing, because I can see on the visuals there is a mix of Eastern and or more the continental food, whatever you categorize it, present on the day. And when you add so many dishes, I think that's a very, very Pakistani or South Asian thing, to make other guests feel special. That I think at the end of the day, it's also very stressful for the host, right? And especially post dinner, cleaning up the entire table, it's another task. So please go
And
ahead.
what about desserts as well?
Okay, so I'm a dessert lover, so I just make desserts one day ahead. It's an entire process of selection and planning. I usually get mothers with kids as guests, so their preferences are not just theirs, their kids as well. So there is finger food, there are baked dishes, there are fried items. Not all the items are fried because at the end of the day, you have to manage all the things myself. So I have one house help who does the dishes and cleaning. Thank God for that. I live in Pakistan. I have that facility. Most of the people don't. And then I select the menu. I plan it ahead. There are cold items, there are hot items, there are baked items. There's one rice dish and main course, and there are make and feel recipes which I do prior. And it is a very, it's an easier way to manage the entire menu. Otherwise, you can't do it in a day. It is a 3 to 4 days process, starting with grocery shopping, selecting a menu, and then making the food.
So it's certainly a lot of hard work which you put into it as well. But there's one more interesting question. Now imagine, because my nephew just got married,
Okay.
and then post-marriage, obviously,
Dawat, yeah.
there's a lot of dawats and whatnot. So you're welcoming the new bride. So imagine that one thing which excites me the most is that we just did, Alhamdulillah, brunch, for the entire family. Everybody came up. Then there's a lot of leftovers as well, and so I'm always excited about the leftover, going into the fridge. अच्छा ये भी बच गया था, ये भी बच गया था. Peeking into the fridge. अब क्या खाऊं, क्या ना खाऊं. Does that excite somebody who's actually cooked the entire meal or have set up the entire dawat and whatnot? Does it excite that one particular person who's done it all?
That excites me so well because when the Dawat is going on, I'm the host. Obviously, I'm managing everything. I don't eat. I just, check something and then I don't eat. I just have a cup of tea. Afterwards, when the guests go, there's a chokri and there's me with a plate full of all the goodies. So I really enjoy it. Yes, taking care of the leftovers is a task, but then uh, a very few food is left.
And I hope it's not more like that, that as soon as they leave, so, so you fill up your plate and all of a sudden the guests come back in as well. Because
no, I think that is particularly
myself.
reserved for the children of the household to attack the trolley and to attack the leftovers. I think this is the memory that we all had. But thank you so much, Maria, for being here, for explaining to us your wonderful tablescaping and delving into the culinary cuisines. And we're hoping and praying that you are putting on a lot of such sort of DIYs on your social media, on the Instagram.
As well.
Yeah, and inspiring a lot of women, especially for persons like me who are very well invested in the tablescape.
In
eating that. Right, so Shahzad, we have a very interesting news, and we also had the honor, particularly Shahzad had the honor of hosting the team Tugul here. So the lead actor Engin Altan talked about his fame, and he says that he owes his popularity to the Pakistani audiences. The Turkish actor who played the famous character Ertugrul in the hit Turkish series Dirilis Ertugrul has credited his global popularity to Pakistan and citizens, in such a wonderful feeling, because we've seen there so many reiteration of the Ertugrul, and it was not just the drama that became popular, the culture that came within it, the consumer culture, the costumes, the jewelries, and the sort of the dialogues that were getting famous here. But that speaks about how we as a Muslims talk about our glorious past of the expansion and such a wonderful just rule.
And Hajra, how the world actually got to know about that Islamic history as well, which was preserved in that part of the world. So I think it was beautiful to see that. And thank you so much, Engin Altan, for kind of contributing your success towards Pakistan. That's how much we are hospitable, and that's how much we are loving as well. But in addition to this, now imagine, this is a world of brilliant ideas, initiative. So there's a UK boy who earns £15,000 for selling personalized stickers online. Guess people out there, who think about ideas every single day. Now that's a very basic idea which you can probably pick up on as well. Where a teenager from Lancashire, UK is earning £15,000 a month from his personalized sticker business, which he started with a 150 digital drawing, cutting and printing machine gifted to him by his mother 2 years ago. Kellan McDonald started printing transfers on Circuit Joy, which he stuck on glassware and acrylic, and then shared them on Facebook. From there, he started getting commissions for personalized items. At the start of 2024, he was selling around 200 personalized items a month, working 3 hours a day after college. After quitting school, well, that's not a good idea, and investing in huge industrial printers, he has sold £74,000 of goods on TikTok Shop and other platforms since July.
And that's wonderful when we've seen that how digital products is the biggest market nowadays in the world. But now delving into the lineup or the runner-up that we talked about in our starting of the program, which is the Oxford Dictionary Word of the Year, which is the brain rot. What exactly does the brain rot means? Initially, it means the people who engage with the low-quality online content and how it is affecting their cognitive processes. So in order to further develop the conversation, we are very glad that we have been joined by a professional therapist and a counsellor. She happens to be Zubia. Zubair, assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Wa alaikum assalam. Always a pleasure to be in your show.
Back.
Yes, thank you.
It's a pleasure hosting you, Zubia. So now let's delve into the brain rot, right? It is the Oxford Word of the Year, Dictionary Word of the Year rather.
Yeah.
How do you see this development, and how do you feel it is affecting the cognitive or the developmental skills of the people?
Thank you so much, Hajra and Shahzad, for having me in your show. Always a pleasure to be here.
Likewise.
So, first we need to understand what exactly brain rot is.
Sure.
It's actually like brain erosion, just like you have land erosion, right? So slowly, gradually, your brain cells start eroding and they become dull. So with time, and why does this happen? Now you've seen everything is at the click of our fingers now, right?
Yep.
So you have your phone, you're just scrolling, you're just, swiping, and everything is just there in that little gadget. Having said that, the brain is not really wired for this quick kind of flow of information, right? So when that happens, slowly, gradually, and you see, I've asked so many of my clients, what's the first thing you do in the morning?
Right.
They say we grab our phones.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing you're telling your brain that, grab your phone. No, I don't. I honestly don't.
Come on, how is that possible? How do you check time early in the morning?
The first thing I do when I get up, I sit on my bed and I do a few deep breaths.
Manifestation?
Wonderful.
Not manifestation, too early for
meditation,
that.
Meditation, right.
So you just take a few deep breaths, and you just wake your brain and your body first, and then you start, okay, fine, you pick up the phone after that, you check your messages and everything. But you know, all this reel, all this mindless entertainment, which I call, this becomes too much for your brain.
And I've got a reference for this. Now imagine that one of my friend, I don't know out of where, because I don't think that, you know, we get so much time to watch dramas, recommended me to watch this drama series, Bismil, I guess.
Oh my God, everybody's talking about it.
So I watched first episode, that was fine. Second episode, all of a sudden there's this negative character thinking negative about all of those other people. I watched for only 5 minutes. I was like, I cannot see this kind of content. And I do not want to, that's a personal choice. Because the impact that it makes on you is something that without even knowing in your subconscious, you start to behave like that. You indulge into those characters. Do you think that causes brain rot? Do you think that these are the activities only restricted to mobile phones and what we see?
I think, you know, that's a very valid point you're making, Shahzad, because you see, when you look at, or when you, dekho, brain is like your stomach.
Right.
So if you put in bad food in your stomach, what's going to happen? You'll get a stomach ache. If you're putting in negative stuff in your brain, what's happening? Your thinking is going towards the negative, right? So if you are giving positives in your brain, if you are giving that kind of food or diet to your brain, then it means that your thinking is evolving. I don't watch dramas, so I really don't know about this drama, but I've heard a lot about it. People talk.
And I couldn't
exactly.
even watch it. Yeah,
so I just want to say, why can't we make good stuff about reality, you know, like life stories, success stories, so that if you are showing your children and your society, I think that's going to motivate them.
Absolutely, we have a lot of, I think, unheard stories. But Zubia, now let's move on to another phenomenon that I've experienced a lot of, you know, younger people out there who are content creators, because nowadays every person is a content creator, right? And I think let's not just deny it, we're also content creators because we are also putting our stuff on the social media, right? And especially who are professionally doing it, like the TikTokers, Instagrammers, all of those people, after some time they all experience the burnout, right?
Yes.
Because they're, and I think I have experienced that, and within a couple of days I think I was blessed enough by the Allah that I had that self-aware, is that, you know, you're chasing that ecstasy that is happening, right? The views that are getting, you know, you're crossing 26,000 views, you're crossing that much, and in that chase, I mean, your entire attention is focused towards that, chasing the ecstasy, right? And you, I think you are getting away from, you know, deep-rooted a connection that your qalb has with Allah, right?
And you've hit the nail on the head, Hajra.
Yes, and that is why a lot of people are experiencing burnout. How to address that?
And it's a very fulfilling feeling when you get all of those views and attention and whatnot.
The very short validation and gratification that is coming.
You know, this is called instant gratification. Now, if you are used to that, the environment and the world doesn't actually work like that, right? Yeah, so I would just say कि थोड़ा सा आप अपने जो mental hygiene है ना, you should focus on that, right?
What does
focus
that
on
mean?
your mental hygiene, which means give your mind a break. You need a break from technology also sometimes, right? Going out for walks without checking your mobile phone for like even 10 minutes, I think is a lot these days. You know, go out in nature, do some exercise, do some good healthy breathing, meditation. Even it's even isolating people socially. You know, if you've noticed that everybody's on their phone, sitting at one table. So I think just giving yourself a break is very important. Also, there's this thing called the 80-20 rule. So go through that, because, you know, like 80% maybe you can watch meaningful content and 20% watch mindless content.
How do you pick and choose between what is meaningful and what is not meaningful? Because, you know, when you're randomly scrolling that, and there is another name for that, doom scrolling, right? Most of the content that is coming has a very negative sort of the notions, or it's about, you know, the doom that is happening in the world. So how do you consume meaningful content? And as a psychologist, as a counselor, you know, what is a healthy way to, I mean, engage with the mobile phone in terms of the hours and percentages?
You know, you just need to reduce your time. You need to check your time, that how much time now you have, you know, like time frame shows on your mobile. So how much is your consumption? So you need to just restrict that, and also there has to be a balance in life, right? You can't always be 24/7 on your phone. And you were just talking about, you know, like content creators. I think that's wonderful, but bring some meaning to your content.
Exactly, and in addition to this, obviously, you know, we've spoken about it before. I'm sorry that I have to say it, but imagine that it's the content that you consume is more about your interest as well.
Absolutely.
Now imagine for a person like me, you know, I've liked pages like Maserati or Ferrari, you know, so I would get content of that sort. I love horses, so I would get that content. I do not love to read, so I want to listen to books as well, so I'll get that content. So I think it certainly matches your interest as well. So people really need to kind of think about what their interests are, and unfortunately, if they're not consuming the right content, they need to change their interest, which will actually help. While we are at it, obviously, if we are to give examples of, you know, brain rot, there will be video gaming, zombie scrolling, doom scrolling, social media, whatnot. What is the impact of brain rot on any adult's mental health?
You know, it isolates you. It also creates passive aggressive aggression, and it also makes you very socially inadequate. Right, because you are 24/7 on your phone, and then you don't know how to socialize with people. You don't know how to talk to people. And I've had a lot of clients, actually younger generation, you know, teenagers, who don't know how to make friends anymore. They can make friends online, by the way, but not in person. They don't know how to sit in a social gathering and communicate. So it's affecting their communication skills also. And also not along, you know, like we are social animals, human beings. So I think you need to look at what it's doing to people in a larger scale, right?
But Zubia, for people, content creators, because they're earning a lot of money, right? And there are also success stories. I think we also need to appreciate this side of it. But I mean, it does have a cost on you, right? And the brain rot, I think, is exactly what is the cost out there. So when we talk about that particular category, because their income is, you know, associated with the social media or scrolling in general, you know, what sort of advice would you dole out to those people? I mean, how to come out from it? Because at the end of the day, you're also earning money, right? What is the practical advice?
I agree. You know, given that, that's fine. But you need to just have a balance and create a time limit. You can't 24/7, your mind can't be working with, you know, like, okay, I'm creating this content. Let's say, for example, food. So create some kind of time limit for yourself. Also, maybe you can just have a schedule where you do this from time to time, and then you also do other activities.
Exactly. And thank you so much for saying that. We really need to strike balance. So very quickly, one last question, and I think that it's going to help a lot of people. It's a very fast-paced life. How do you think we as individuals can slow it down on days where we're like, okay, there's too much going on, let's slow it down, let's pace it off?
You know, I just want to say one little thing to every person watching this show, that check your own self and check your need to maybe excel. Right? There is a need in all of us, and if that need is overpowering your life, you need to slow down.
Wow,
okay. Thank you so much. And these are wonderful concluding remarks coming from a counselor who is telling us about, you know, how to deal with the problems that are very much embedded in the social fabric of our lives. And I think social media is something that we need to very responsibly live with. We are already living with that, but it is also creating a lot of problems. And I think she also mentioned about the digital detox, that we need to do that. And this is the thing that our ancestors have been doing it. It is not something new. So we also need to be connected back to our ways of our ancestors and make sure that we are living a more meaningful, purposeful and an informed life rather than just, you know, mindlessly living it. But thank you so much, Dr. Zubia, once again. And we are ending our program. Until next time, it's a goodbye. Allah Hafiz and good morning.
Look after yourselves. Have a great day. Bye.